guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. If you are, my name is Jade Monet. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I will be showing you how I braid my hair at home. I'm no professional. I probably started braiding my hair maybe 3 years ago, and I've only done it a handful of times, and every single time I get better. And it's completely, I would say, beginner friendly with a little bit of patience. It is time consuming. I would set aside a full day for you to braid your hair, especially if it's your first time and you want to do smaller braids like this. I would definitely set aside a day just so that you can take your time with it and make it as neat as you would like it to be. So hopefully this video will inspire someone to do their own braids. I think it's just a really good skill to have. It's just really convenient. Let's just jump right into the video. Before we get started, let's go over the tools that we'll need. So you'll need some sort of braiding gel. This one works wonders. An edge brush or toothbrush, a rat tail comb for parting, and then of course your braiding hair. I personally recommend getting pre-stretched hair. So first I applied my braiding gel to my hair, and then I'm going to grab a section that is about the size of the hair that I pulled out, just maybe a little bit bigger. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of the gel on the hair just so that it's easier to grip when I start braiding. And I'm gonna section them in 3 sections. The section should go from small to large. As you can see, it's kind of subtle, and maybe you can even start off with a smaller piece. But you're just gonna start braiding the hair like you would normally. So you section it in 3, obviously, and then you just start the braid. So once you get to a good point, I would say maybe like 5 braids down or so, you're going to grab your first piece and put them in between 2 of the strands. So it's going to become part of 2 of your braiding strands. And then just continue to braid it as normal. So you braid it down until, I personally do it until the hair without braiding hair is in the middle. So once I get to that point, I'm adding in my second set of hair, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding it to those strands and continuing to braid as normal. Now, when you get to the third one, you'll notice that one of them is thicker than the others. You'll want to add the hair to the 2 other strands. And this will become it'll make more sense when you're doing it. And then I just continue to braid it down. This is sort of where it's up to you to decide how far down you would like to braid it. Okay, so I'm gonna do it again. You're gonna part the hair that you're braiding, apply your gel, start the braid as normal, and making sure that it's pulled as tight as you would like it to be. So once you get to that point, you're gonna add in the first set of braiding hair. So like I said, it's going in between 2 sections, and you're braiding it as normal. And then once the hair without braiding hair is in the middle, you're gonna add it, and then you'll notice the one thicker strand compared to the other 2, and that's where you'll add the 3rd strand of hair. And then of course, use your gel. Once you get down to the end of your natural hair, you're gonna wanna use the gel to make sure that it blends in with the other braiding hair. And this is basically what it looks like. So I know I'm gonna get a ton of questions about how I do the back of my head. So basically what I do is I feel it out and try to get a good sense of where I think the part should be. And then once I do that, I'm able to use 2 mirrors so that I could see the back of my head, and I just sort of perfect it, and then I start sectioning out each individual part, and I use these little black rubber bands to properly section each part. It's just easier doing it this way because then I can do an entire row of braids without worrying about having to go back and forth between parting it. So now I'm going to show you guys how I achieve the wavy ends on my braids. So the first thing that I do is section it out in 4 sections, and then I use a rubber band just to sort of serve as a marker for where I want the waviness to start, essentially. And I guess this is something to be aware of while you're braiding, because for the most part I stopped my braids around the same spot. So I'm just going to continue braiding down, and I'm going to do this for all 4 sections. Of course, if you like to, you can do more than 4 braids or less than 4 braids, just depending on how big you want the waves to be. But once you get them all braided up, you're gonna actually remove the rubber bands, just because I wasn't sure if it would dent in a weird way after I dipped it. So now that we're done, we get to dip the hair. So I basically just use hot boiling water that I put in this huge mug, and that's what I'm going to use to dip the hair in. This is the best part of this entire process, not just because you're basically done, but also because it really fixes any of the small imperfections. So I didn't capture this part on camera, but I actually went back and re-dipped all of the hair into hot water after I took out my braids, just to sort of give the waves more of a looser look, but obviously that part is optional. And then I also just used some oil and mousse to give the braids a little bit more shine. So that's about it, you guys. Hopefully this was helpful and informative, easy to follow and beginner friendly. Of course, if I forgot to explain something or I explained something in a way that didn't make sense, please feel free to either write me down in the comment section or feel free to DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is jade.monet. I'm more than happy to answer any of the questions that I might not have covered. But that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.